Hey, and welcome back to our course on creating a WordPress website from scratch. This will be our last lesson. This is the last lesson. We're going to cover posting on social media and some other loose ends, but then that will be it. I'll let all the little birdies out of the nest and you can go and conquer the world making thousands and thousands of WordPress websites. It's an intimidating process for a lot of people, but once you know how to do it, once you watch someone do it, it's actually really easy. I hope that you followed along. I hope that you have your own WordPress website right now. If you don't, I encourage you to stop watching and go pick up where you left off, or go start at the beginning if you need to, and follow along so that you have your own WordPress website at this point. It's such an empowering feeling. And then also tell your friends about it. Tell your friends, show them what, if your parents are still around, hopefully they are, show your mom, show your dad. I'm sure they would be very, very proud of you for what you've done. I always would like showing my mom what I've done, and I could draw a little picture with crayons and she'd probably appreciate that. Now I'm 46 right now. If I did that, she would probably raise an eyebrow. But when I was a kid, she was so proud at whatever I did. And I'm sure your parents are too. So if they're still alive, take this as an opportunity to show them and have them feel proud of you too. In this lesson, we are going to cover posting to social and a couple different considerations we need to think about. But before we start, there's something I forgot. Two things I forgot actually. So number one, this is the second time I've recorded this lesson. I released this lesson a couple weeks ago, but I felt like I was just leaving you hanging. I have another site that I made before this, and it has 900 social pins, but getting them on there, I had to do like a lot of manual work to make that happen. So I gave you in the previous version of this lesson some different options to get those posts onto social, but it wasn't a pretty process and it wasn't the ideal process. So I went back to the drawing board and I said, what would solve the problem for getting the perfect social schedule going? And banged my head against the wall for a while, and I came up with the solution. I coded a solution inside of ZimmWriter called the Social Scheduler. It's completely free of charge if you have a ZimmWriter license. So we'll use that to create our social schedule. I'll show you how that works. It's really cool and incredibly powerful. Nothing else exists like it in the world. Can't wait to demonstrate that for you. One other thing I forgot to mention is some of you might be in maintenance mode right now on your WordPress website. I can't recall if I recommended installing a maintenance plugin, but if I did, a maintenance plugin, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, it looks like a normal WordPress website to you. But if you were to go in a private window and view it when you're not logged in, it would say under construction or something like that. And only you, when you're logged in, would be able to see it. So you need to turn off maintenance mode if you are on maintenance mode. I forgot to mention that in the last lesson. If you do have a plugin called like maintenance mode or something, make sure you to go in there and just deactivate the plugin. I've already removed my plugin. I don't even need it anymore. But make sure you deactivate that if you are in maintenance mode so other people can come in and check out your site. So let's talk social media right now. So for my site right here, Pinterest is where my audience is. So it would be beneficial to me to pin to Pinterest. You will have to determine if that's the right social platform for you. And there could be multiple social platforms also, but don't just go posting to Pinterest if you're like in the financial niche or something like that. Don't start posting to Pinterest because no one else is posting to Pinterest in the financial niche. No one's going to read it. So go where your audience is. If your audience is in Instagram, go there. If it's in Pinterest, go there. If it's in Twitter or LinkedIn, go there. That's the most important thing, the takeaway. And there's social scheduling tools for all of these platforms. So for this video, we're going to talk about scheduling to Pinterest. I know a lot of you probably will be scheduling there, but we will look at some other tools that will help us schedule elsewhere too. Now, the first question is, what are we going to post to these social channels? Sometimes just posting an image by itself with some text, but no text on the image is good enough. Like for my blog here, posting this image to Pinterest or this image to Pinterest without any text on it would work out perfectly fine. There's people on Pinterest looking at home decor, they're just clicking on the images. This would work out perfectly fine. But there might be other niches that need some text on the image. If you're doing arts and crafts for kids, just having an AI image of some kids doing some arts and crafts probably would not convey what that pin is about. So if the pin was about 5 cool tricks to help a bored kid over the summer, you'd want that text on the image. So that's a consideration. So how are we going to get the text on the image if you fall into that category? One way is by this tool called Pin Generator, and you can put in an individual URL for a blog post or upload a CSV file. Let's put in this right here, and it will go and scrape the URL and pull the images out. And you can find this pin generator right now. It's on AppSumo, so it's a lifetime deal. But even if you have to pay a monthly fee for it, it's very inexpensive. So we can select some images. We'll take this one and this one, take different images. And we'll go over here, and it puts them into this like potential pinning board. Then we can choose our templates. We can select our templates and say, let's choose an image only. Let's choose something like this and something like, I don't know, like this. So we'll reformat them all to fit that criteria. And then you can come in here and change the font up if you want to. Colors and font, you can change the font up, change these up to fit the season if you want to. A lot of different options you can do in here. You can say, oh, I don't want this one, let's delete that from the mix. Oh, this is Easter, I don't want that. So you can come in here and schedule up a bunch of pins. Now, you can create a schedule. You can pick a date and add to the queue. I have not found a way to upload hundreds or thousands of pins and put them in a queue for the next year or two. So that is one of the downsides. There is a CSV that you can use to do some importing, but I didn't see any date in here. So I think that like the scheduling from a date perspective is still going to be a manual process. So that is a downside to this, but there's a lot of options in here. You can use AI to generate the text and stuff like that. There's a lot of options in here. I think it's an okay tool, but I'm not going to personally use this tool, but this is an option if you want to get that text on an image. The other thing you can do is you can use ZimmWriter's bulk AI image generator. So we'll go to ZimmWriter, click on the AI Vault, and there's this bulk AI image generator. And if we open it up, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but this is cool in order to get text onto images, although it can be a little bit expensive. So I have let's go to some titles over here. Top 5 Christmas decor dorm ideas. So I'll take that and I'll put that title right here in ZimmWriter. And now we need an image prompt. So I have an image prompt right here. Pause the video if you want to write this down or something, but it's write a prompt to generate a social media image for a blog post about title. There's our placeholder. Make the prompt less than 50 words. The details and colors of the image should appeal to home decor. The prompt begins with the phrase, a social media graphic of. The prompt ends with the phrase, the social media graphic includes the words title, using a feminine design, the website, designer affair, listed somewhere. Make sure to use title in its uppercase. Now you'll see these placeholders. ZimmWriter on the back end will dynamically replace this. So if you're going to use the word title, leave this exactly how it is. And then if we have another title in here, let's put another title in here. So we have 2 titles in here. Those placeholders will be dynamically replaced on the back end. So just leave it like that. But we'll take this and I'll paste it right in here for my prompt. Now you can load prompts that you've previously saved elsewhere, but that's beyond the scope of the video. Read the directions if you want to learn about that. We'll choose the AI model for writing. We're going to choose Claude Sonnet, but you could choose GPT-4o if you wanted to. In the image model, now this is the important bit. You'll either want to use Ideogram 2, and that's 8 cents an image, so that adds up. Or you'll want to use like FluxDev. Or FluxSchnell works, but it still messes up with words. FluxDev is better. So let's just use FluxDev. I'm going to use it on Replicate right now. You'll choose your ratio. Now with Replicate, you can choose 2.3 or 2:3, which is for Pinterest. With FAL, the FluxDev on FAL, you cannot choose 2:3. That platform just doesn't have 2:3. So if you want 2:3, you're gonna have to use Replicate's version of Flux. Then you want to specify how many images you want per title. We could say, you know what, let's just do 2 just for sake of time. The more images you do, the greater of a chance of getting at least 1 image without messed up text. So we're gonna get images with some messed up text in here. So sometimes I would probably dial this up to 7 just to, I guess, let's just do that. Just to avoid messed up text. You'll get this box that will pop up that say, hey, you know what? You're not using a subheading placeholder, all right? You can still proceed without using a subheading placeholder. Do you want to? Yes. The subheading placeholder, it's beyond the scope of the video. If we're just creating like featured images for our blog posts with our titles, then we don't really need the subheading images. So let's go to our output folder and see what we're getting. So here's the first one. Make this a little bit bigger. Top 5 festive Christmas dorm decor ideas. Hey, look, all the text is perfect. That's great. That's a great social image right there. I really like that. We got lucky. Let's try this next one. So we got some messed up. Now, if you do get messed up text, I have a video on this elsewhere, but you can go into Canva and there's an AI tool in there called Grab Text. And you can grab the text and then it will erase the messed up text and you can type in the proper text and it will try to match the font up also. So that's possible. Top 5 festive Christmas decor ideas. This is great. I would just grab the text here and fix it, grab the text here. Obviously that takes time though. Top 5 Christmas, some messed up text. I don't really like the design very much though. Some messed up text. Top 5 Christmas dorm decor ideas. That's cool. I like the image. That's really like professional looking. And we just got to change our site, correct the text in Canva for that. So this is a viable way to put text on an image and have it look pretty professional, arguably a little bit more professional looking than this. But the question that begs the question, is that necessary? Will people click on one of these AI images that we're generating better than something like this? Obviously, you got to calculate your return on investment, whether it's time or whether it's money. Let's check out this other blog post. This is must-have mid-century modern. It should be Christmas decor ideas. So mess the text up there a little bit, but that's a really cool photo. Must-have mid-century modern Christmas decor ideas. That turned out perfect, except for this is messed up. So we could change this in Canva. Very cool photo. Must-have mid-century Christmas decor ideas. That's perfect. It's cool. So this shows you a new way or a different way to create some social share images if you in fact need text on those images and you don't want to go into Canva and just do it manually for each one. You could just come into ZimmWriter and have it generate 7 images for each particular title. Although that does add up with FluxDev, I think it's like 3 cents per image. So you generate 7 images, that's 35 cents. So that does add up in cost, whereas there's no additional cost to generate this stuff aside from your subscription to this tool. So stuff to think about. So now let's shift gears a little bit and before we talk about scheduling, there's something else I want to show you on my site that's important to consider, or I guess a step that you'll need to do. And it's this button right here. I forgot to mention this and I don't want to go any further without mentioning this. So Blocksy, if you're using the Blocksy theme that I recommended, we can add these social share buttons on here and it's pretty cool. You go to customize and then we go to single posts. And there's a share box option. So we can turn it off, and it goes away, or we can turn it on. You can come in here and specify which format you want. I'm using this type 2 format, which is a button. Otherwise, it's an outlined box with an icon inside. Do you want to use a custom color or the official color? Where do you want it, top or bottom? There's all kinds of other options you can add in. You can say, I want Facebook 2. So a lot of cool options. My audience is just going to be Pinterest. So I'm just going to leave it at Pinterest right here. I don't think I'll even do Facebook or these other things. So a lot of options you can configure in here. So that's important. Number one, if you are writing blog posts that people could potentially share, make sure to enable that option. The next thing you might want to do if you're using Pinterest is install the pin hover function. So see when I hover over this, I get a little pin thing. So this is actually a plugin that we can install and it's completely free. Now there's not a lot of these plugins. So, your mileage will vary, but this is called Weblizer Pin It button on image hover and post. It's hard to find in the App Store. It's free though, but once you find it, it works pretty well. I don't think I have premium. I'm not sure what that does. You can go to settings and there's some basic settings you can configure. It works out well. It works on mobile too, which is great. So get that set up too and it will just automatically populate on every single image on your post. Show it on a pin in a post. Don't show it on a page. Show it on hover, show it on mobile. Yeah. So you set this up and you're done with the whole sharing from your page perspective. Now what we need to do is we need to shift gears back into how do we get these posts scheduled. So this tool, Pin Generator, you can manually create your schedule. You can pick a date and build your schedule that way. There's a lot of other scheduling tools out there. You go to Google and type in social media schedule. There's this, I haven't used a lot of these. There's a thing called Lumi. There's Sprout Social. There's Later. There's Hootsuite. There's Buffer. Now, the thing that I've noticed about all of these that I'm aware of. And I don't think there's anyone that will use AI to determine this. I don't think any of these will look at your existing blog posts that it's going to then choose from and schedule them according to the best time of the year. So as an example, I have spring stuff, I have summer, fall, winter, I have holidays, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I don't want my Thanksgiving stuff shared in Easter on social, on Pinterest. That wouldn't make any sense. I don't want my summer stuff shared in winter. If you go to those Pinterest trends that we looked at in the very first video, like right now, at the time of recording this video, it's the end of September. It's fall right now. We're going into fall. We're going into Thanksgiving and Halloween. We're going into all these different fall activities. I want the fall stuff shared in fall. I don't want the summer stuff shared then. How can we do that? None of the tools that I'm aware of will figure that out for you. I don't think Buffer does it. I don't think Sprout Social does it. I don't think any of these tools do it. ZimmWriter will do it. I'll show you how it does that. Also, right, in my particular situation, I have 524 blog posts that have not yet published. So a lot of these scheduler tools won't like delve into the back end of WordPress. Go look at your sitemap. Right now, the only thing on my sitemap are my published posts. So unless you have access to the WordPress website on the back end, nobody can see your unpublished posts yet. So these tools like Buffer and Sprout Social and stuff, they don't see these posts back here. Like this post is going to publish in October of 2026. So I don't have to touch this site for the next couple of years. It's just going to continue to drip out this content. But I still want these posts considered for sharing on social. Does that make sense? So number one, I want content shared during the year when it should be shared. I want my Easter stuff shared during Easter, Thanksgiving stuff shared during Thanksgiving. I also want something to take into account whether the post is actually published or not. And if it's not published, only schedule it for being shared after it's published. So it will still put it on the schedule, but where it puts it will be after the post has already been published. The other thing you've got to take into account is how far between a time period are you going to share the same URL. So for instance, this post right here, top 5 festive Christmas dorm decor ideas. This is a featured image. This could work as a social share on Pinterest. This is also an image that could work as a separate post on Pinterest, another post on Pinterest, another post on Pinterest. But all of these posts on Pinterest go back to this main URL. It's not recommended to share to the same URL in less than a certain day period. Some people will say every 4 days. Some people say every 7 days. So my rule of thumb is I don't want to share a post to this URL more frequently than every 7 days. So that's another consideration. And the final consideration is how many posts do you want to share a day? Rule of thumb is when you're first starting on Pinterest, no more than 3 pins a day. As your Pinterest profile and the followers of it get higher, you can ramp that up. I'm not an expert in that field, but I do know that my wife, she had 8,000 Pinterest followers, didn't touch Pinterest for a couple of years, just let that sit, and then came back and started pinning like 15 pins a day to all kinds of different things. And her account got banned. And so she can't even log into her account anymore. She appealed the process. They said, nope, you're not allowed back in. So be very careful in how many pins you're pinning a day. Rule of thumb, at least that I found works out, is 3 pins a day until your profile gets very large. And then you got to keep up with it. You got to keep up with it. I also recommend, I think I mentioned this before, or maybe I didn't, every Pinterest account, or heck, every social media account, sign up with a different email. Because if they ban your Pinterest account, all associated accounts with that will get banned. So it would be good if you had different emails for each one of those accounts. I know it's more of a hassle, but if you're putting all this time in, you might as well take all the steps, the precautions you can up front. Nothing in life is guaranteed, but all you can do is protect yourself. So we have a lot of considerations to take into account. None of the tools I know of do that. So I use Publer for publishing my schedule. And I'll show you my schedule right here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Here are 2 years of Pinterest pins. It's scheduled out for 2 years. This is going to be pinned today. These will drop tomorrow. This is the 29th. I don't have to touch this again for 2 years. 3 pins a day, and it's obeying when it should schedule stuff, like the month of the year, depending on the subject matter. It's obeying the how many pins a day, and then also how frequently are we spacing out these different URLs. Publer's not doing that. I'm feeding Publer my schedule. And Publer's taking that schedule then and creating this. So there's a lot of tools out there, not just Publer, that will take a schedule, like a CSV file schedule, and then turn that into something like this. I personally use Publer because I really like it. I think it's the best. It not only hooks up to Pinterest, but to Instagram, to LinkedIn, to all these other platforms. It even has a content explorer option that will show you the trending stuff all over the world for all these different platforms. Very cool tool, and it's very inexpensive too. I do have an affiliate link down below. You don't have to use this, but whatever you use is going to have to accept the CSV to upload your schedule in bulk. Let me show you what it is on the front. I had to go to a private window, otherwise it will show me logged in. It's fairly inexpensive. The annual price is $10 a year for 3 social accounts. So this could be, so you could hook up 3 Pinterest accounts, or you could do a Pinterest and a Facebook and a LinkedIn if you wanted to. You can add as much as you want. So it's very scalable, and you can do team members if you want to. So I really like Publer, but you're free to use whatever you want. I do have an affiliate link down below if you want to go forward with this. So how can we do this? How can we schedule all this stuff? So let's go over here to our create option, and you'll see this bulk option down here. And this bulk option allows us to import a CSV file. We can view an example of what that CSV file is supposed to look like. So it's supposed to have a date. This is the date to schedule the post. A message, this will be the text, like the description of the post. This is the link to where you want the post to ultimately link to. That would be our blog post. This would be the media URL for the post itself. That would be our pin, and then the title for the pin. And then the label is just like a back-end way on Publer to categorize this thing. So we somehow need to get what we need in here. So let's go ahead and create our schedule right now. Let's just open up ZimmWriter. We'll go to the AI Vault. And so this is the thing that I built for you guys, because again, I felt like I was leaving everybody high and dry. I didn't have a great solution. So I invented this solution. Doesn't exist anywhere in the world. Only place you can get this I call it the perfect scheduler, is inside of ZimmWriter. So a lot of stuff going on. I do recommend reading the directions. What you'll do first is you'll load your WordPress website. So we'll select designer affair. You'll select a user. It needs to be the administrator user. It doesn't have to be called admin, but it just needs a user with administrator privileges. Then you're going to want to either leave this blank or designate the only categories you want included and or any categories you want excluded. Now these categories are going to be by ID. So let's go into our WordPress right now and I'll show you what I mean. On the back end of WordPress is a database, and everything's stored by an ID. And there's all kinds of different IDs. Posts have IDs, categories have IDs. Normally you can't see those IDs. If you go to plugins and add a new plugin, and you can download for free and use it for free, it's called Reveal IDs. If you activate that, again, it's free, you can go to your categories area, and it will show you the IDs for each of your categories. So product reviews is a category I don't want to make social media posts to. One of the reasons being is because a lot of those product reviews are going to have Amazon images in them. I don't have the copyright for them. And then also because I'm using the AAWP plugin, they're not high quality. They're not super high quality, and they're also not 2x3. So I want to exclude that category from consideration. So I'd come over here and I'd say, let's exclude category 40. Now, you could, instead of excluding, you could just specify the categories you want included. Maybe you create a new category. You say, you know what, I just added the category holiday home decor. I want to include that only. And so only this will be included. But where I'm doing it the reversed way now, I'm including all the categories except the product reviews. Then we have to tell ZimmWriter what range of WordPress posts we want it to consider. ZimmWriter can go to your WordPress site and pull all of the posts, but maybe you only want a subset of those posts. If you only want posts that were put on your WordPress site 3 weeks ago, you'd come in here and you'd say, I want to go back to 9/1. Right? Everything that was put on my WordPress site from 2024 9/1 and will publish no later than 2024 9/27, I want you to consider. So that's how this range works. When did you put it on your WordPress site, and when did it publish? So I want to consider everything except this category ID of 40. So we'll go back here to 2009, and we'll go to 2029. That will consider everything on my WordPress site. Days before repeating a URL. So this is important if we are using those subheading images. There's an option to use subheading images. If you don't check this, then only the featured image will be used to make a social media post. right? Otherwise, you'll have a social media post for each of your featured images and subheading images. So this is important, again, if you're using those subheading images. So I'll say 7 days apart between sharing the same URL. How many posts per day? These factors depend on the platform you're using. We're using Pinterest, so I'm going to set it at 7 and 3 posts a day. I want to enable subheading images because I have them on my site. Now, one little addendum here, if you are putting other images in your content, whether it's an advertisement or something that's not necessarily like a pop-up, that could be considered and turned into a social post. So be careful if you check this use subheading images and you've done more than what I have here, and you have like other types of images in your post. So pay attention to that. Use AI to recommend a date range. This is huge. This is so powerful right here. I initially didn't have this in here, and I'm like, you know what? I can build my schedule now, but I want my Christmas stuff scheduled automatically for Christmas. That's what this AI thing does right here. Now you might be thinking, Matt, I don't have a home decor site. I don't have Easter stuff and Christmas stuff. You might be surprised. Let's pretend that you have an outdoor blog about stuff for the outside, like a grill. I personally grill 365 days a year, but people usually shop for grills in the spring and in the summer. So if you're trying to stay within this 3 posts a day, what posts are you going to schedule in the summer? You might want to schedule those barbecue grill posts. How to grill chicken on the barbecue grill, how to grill fish on a barbecue grill. People are going to be doing that over the summer. So using AI to recommend the date range can really turn into amazing results if people are actually looking for that stuff during that particular time of the year. And then we have some different prompts. So by default, ZimmWriter is going to create a title for the post and then also a description. But if you want to dial that in and change that up to your specific use case, or maybe you're posting to multiple social platforms and you want the description to be different for each one. I have a Pinterest one. Maybe you have a Twitter one and a LinkedIn custom prompt. That's just an option for you. You don't have to do that, but I made it available for you. You can define all of your custom prompts in the bulk writer. I know it's a backwards way to go about doing it, but that's where you define your custom prompts and you can use them in here. You want more instruction on this? Read the directions up here. What language do you want the output to be in? And then what model do you want to do the translation for? If you want English, just let this be blank. And then we'll give this a job name and we'll call it whatever. We'll call it example. And then what AI model do you want to use to actually write the social media post? So we'll use 4.0. Okay. Once you're happy with everything, you'll click Create Social Schedule. Now it's going to make 2 files in 2 different stages. The first thing it's doing right now is going to my WordPress website. And if you're using Cloudways, if you followed along with me, turn off bot protection. This will not work if you have bot protection on. And then Publer will also have problems pulling those images if you have bot protection on. So temporarily disable bot protection in the Cloudways. So it's making our first file right now for stage 1, and it's going to be called example. It is basically just going to our WordPress site and pulling in all those blog posts, and then finding when they were published, what the media URL is, and all these other details. And then it's also going to determine the range for us. We're pulling a lot of posts in. Maybe I misconfigured it. I'm going to let this run. I don't think I chose that many, but maybe I did. We'll let this run. I'll show you an example that I already finished over here. So this is something I already finished. This would be the first stage, the first file that would be created. So we have the post ID. Remember, everything has an ID. So there's the post ID. This is when the post was published or is scheduled to be published. This is just a timestamp. We don't touch that. This is the month or the range that ZimmWriter used AI to determine when this post should be published. So how to decorate your classroom for the holidays. It's recommending that we post this in November through December. Now this is charming cottage Christmas decor ideas. You would think that this should be posted also over the winter. The AI is not perfect. Sometimes we get situations like this when it's like, hey, you could post this anytime. So sometimes you'll run into situations like this. Other times it will just be false when this could be published any time of the year. 7 trendy New Year decor ideas. So this is all of December. 5 easy Christmas jar ideas. So this is the 28th of November through Christmas. Let's see what else. Creepy Halloween stuff. So that's all of October. So this is the first file that will be created. And then ZimmWriter will use this file to create the second stage. The second stage is going to look like this. It's going to have the job name with an underscore complete. And it's going to create this file, but it's going to keep working on it. So until ZimmWriter completely finishes, don't open this up, if that makes sense. Don't open this up. So we'll open this, and this is what the schedule will look like. We have our post ID, when the post was published or scheduled to be published, Now we also have the post category. This category can be useful if you're like, for Pinterest, for instance, you're creating different boards and you say, what's the category? What posts go with the fall category or something like that? So we can actually come in here and just apply like a filter and just filter pretending, let's pretend 35 was the fall category. So we just pull out the 35 stuff and schedule that right now. This is the social schedule date. And this is the post title. This is the post URL. This is the post image URL, social media title, social media text. Now remember we talked about at the beginning, there's like this template that Publer wants. Here's what the template looks like. Before we can start modifying the template and putting our data in here, we have to click make a copy. Otherwise you can't edit this thing. I'll take the social schedule date. We'll go over here and just paste that right in here. And then we'll go over here and we'll take our, not our post title because we want our social media title. So we're going down to 16. So a social media title right here, that goes over here. This is our message. This is our description. So our description should be right over here. And then this is the link to the article itself, not the image, the link to the article itself. So that's our post URL. And then we need the media URL. That's the post image right here. Now, if you're not using Publer, if you're using some other scheduling platform, they're going to have their own format. That's why I can't just create a format for every particular use case. So figure out what format it is, download their template, and then just fill it out accordingly, and it should give you no problems. So that's what we have. The label, that's just like an internal organization thing that Publer can use. So imagine we're doing like a particular board for Pinterest we can call fall decor, and that would be the label that we're going to then add to all this stuff. Now we'll download this and we will save it as a CSV. Now I'll go to Publer and I'll select that CSV. And it will take a second to actually import. So we'll click this and it imports the stuff. Now, if yours does not have a date under it, it might be because you did not select the social account you want to post it to. So if you added a lot of different social accounts to this particular workspace, you'll have to select the social accounts you want it posted to, and then the date will appear. All you do to select it is you just hover on the icon up here and put the little green check mark on there. But here's our schedule. So look at that. 7 charming cottage Christmas decor ideas. 5 easy Halloween cookie decor ideas for spooktacular designs. And again, this was the content that we had the AI. We didn't use a custom prompt, but if you wanted to use a custom prompt, you dial it in a little bit more. And speaking of which, just realize a lot of times social, when you tell the AI to write a social media post, it will create emojis and things like that. If you open your text, your CSV file with Excel, whether it's an emoji or whether you're translating this to a different language, a lot of those things will not carry over. So you might want to open up your CSV file inside of Google Sheets to avoid messed up emojis or messed up non-English languages. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is all done. And then when you're happy with it, you just click submit and then wait for it all to get scheduled and you're good. Now, one thing important about Pinterest is boards. This is really important. Let me clear this out because I'm not scheduling this. When you go to Pinterest, you can make different boards. And I don't know, people like having boards. It's like think of them as categories on your Pinterest account. You go to Pinterest, you make the boards that you want. For my situation, I just made the boards be my categories. But when we bulk schedule with Publer, we can't, inside of the CSV, designate the board that we want. The way to designate a board is we go over here and we click on our social account. And then inside of our social account, we can click sync info after we've made our boards, and then our boards become available. So what you'll have to do, and it's a pain, is you'll pick the board that you want to schedule a bulk job to. So we'll say fall home decor, and then we'll go back to the create, we'll do a bulk import, and we'll just import the fall home decor stuff. So that's why I have these categories here. So you can say, I just want to filter by fall home decor, whatever category ID that is. And then we'll just schedule that stuff right now. We'll just take that stuff and put it into this CSV right here and just schedule that. Then we'll come back over here on Publer and we'll select the next board, DIY decor. Then I'll go back over here and filter just by the DIY decor and copy that in. It's a little bit more of a cumbersome process, but realize I'm now scheduled out for 2 years. I don't have to do anything. I'm scheduled for 2 years. Everything's completely done. So it definitely can save you a lot of time. So that's it. That's the entire course. I can't think of anything else that I need to share with you in terms of creating a site from absolutely nothing and then being done with it. Now I'm done with my site. I don't have to touch it for 2 years. If I start making money with it, hey, that's great. If I start getting more traffic, hey, I can go in and modify things and add on more affiliate offers, but I'm done. That's the goal I want you to get to learn how to build a site, but then also be done so that you can move on and make another site and make another site. So easy to do. And it's a lot of fun too. That's it. I have nothing else. I don't have a graduation cap for you, and I'm not going to mail you a certificate, but realize if you did go through this entire course, I am proud of you. I truly am. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for participating in this class. Drop a comment down below, as this is the last lesson. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this course. I'd love to hear what you think. Please share this course with others. It's free. It's a pretty easy sell, right? Share the course with others. Get them involved in building their own WordPress website. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Join the Facebook group, 13,000 members in there. All kinds of links down below in the description. Check them out, and that's it. Hey, good luck with your content generation. Good luck with your site creation. I wish you the best in everything you do, and I will talk to you later.